Hello and welcome to Northern Nightmares, your home for nightmare stories throughout Canada and beyond. I'm your host Andrew and welcome back to part 2 of our UFOs in America series. For this part, we're going to dive even deeper into the UFO world. As I said last week, we're going to look at the mysterious place of Area 51. All around our beautiful planet, there are many locations that still baffle even the smartest people. Area 51 is still one of the most unknown locations in the U.S. Located in the Nevada desert, this mysterious military base is heavily guarded, and as of 2026, we still have no idea what's really going on here. This place is surrounded in rumors, theories, and even wild claims from first-hand accounts. So to talk about this place, I'm going to tell you what we officially know, some of the weird coincidences, and some of the top conspiracy theories. Plus, I'm going to mention some of the first-hand accounts that claim to have seen its inner workings. So let's begin with the beginning, and to what has been officially considered facts. Area 51 was created in 1955 during the Cold War, when the United States and the Soviet Union had tensions because of nuclear fears. However, it never had the name Area 51 in the beginning. It had many nicknames that were used during its time, though. Some of these names were Groom Lake, Homey Airport, Paradise Ranch, and even Watertown Airship. Groom Lake is the official name of the salt flat that the base is adjacent to. It wasn't until 2013 that it was officially acknowledged, when the CIA confirmed its existence. In 2005, a Freedom of Information Act was requested about the base. The declassified documents the CIA had released in 2013 were filled with detailed history and purposes of the place. Its primary role was the development of spy planes during the Cold War. Within these documents, there were detailed maps and descriptions of the facilities at Groom Lake, and called it officially Area 51. Only a few planes have ever been officially confirmed, though, to be tested here. During the Cold War, it was the Lockheed U-2 spy plane with the nickname Dragon Lady. This plane could reach heights of 70,000 feet. Its goal was to be undetected by radars. That goes as well for the other one, the A-12 Oxcart, first flown in 1962. It was designed to go extreme speeds like Mach 3 and up. It was later replaced by the SR-71 Blackbird until 1990. In the late 60s, Area 51 acquired a Soviet MiG-21 to be evaluated and to be observed its performance against their own fleet. It was attained by the help of Israel and was a great help during the Vietnam War. Another famous plane is the F-117 Nighthawk. This craft was designed to be a stealth fighter between the 70s and the 80s. It was tested at Area 51 under the Have Blue program. This program was a demonstration project ran by Lockheed Martin. Their Skunk Works division is known to have worked on highly secretive aerospace projects for the U.S. Lockheed is a mega corporation for designing these mentioned planes and some current ones like the F-22 and F-35 stealth fighters. Lockheed is one of the largest defense contractors in the U.S., and it does have a very complex history with aerospace, defense, and advanced technology. Now, as impressive as that sounds, they also have been known for controversies like legal issues with security litigations, often paying out multi-million-dollar settlements, and also having many cases where they overbilled NASA. However, I'm not going to take a deep dive into them right now, but needless to say, they fit right in with Area 51. Back at the base, like I said, it's been officially confirmed to have made secret projects during the Cold War. But that ended in 1991, when the Soviet Union disbanded due to the Warsaw Pact dissolution. So that's 35 years ago. So what's been going on at the base since then? The obvious answer is working on more spycraft. But here's the thing. All of that I just said was confirmed in 2013, 22 years after the Cold War. Hell, even Obama was the first president to publicly acknowledge the place shortly after the news was released from the CIA. Nothing official has been ever said of its inner workings since then. So it makes you question what's being developed. I mean, planes are cool, but what if there were more being tested? Over the years, there's been many claims that Area 51 is more than what it claims to be. Now we will start to slowly creep farther down the rabbit hole about this place, as the biggest claim that continues to live on as of today, which is Area 51 is secretly hiding UFOs and also aliens. There's no doubt in my mind that weird shit goes on in Area 51 that the US government doesn't want the world to know. Honestly, it could very well be simply a site for testing advanced spy craft. However, certain events in history make some argue the what if, because some people that have worked for or still at Area 51 have spoke out about the inner workings. Let's start with the environmental lawsuit that happened in 1994. 5 unnamed civilian contractors and 2 widows of contractors, Robert Frost and Walter Casca, sued the United States Environmental Protection Agency and the United States Air Force on the claim that Area 51 had large amounts of unknown chemicals burned in open pits. This caused the 7 individuals major health issues. For Frost and Casca, they died due to this. It's said that they were burning paints and other chemicals that were used to make the spy planes. Massive plumes of smoke were inhaled by these people, causing skin, liver, and respiratory injuries. Biochemists at Rutgers University in New Jersey analyzed biopsies from the victims' fat and found high levels of dioxins, dibenzofurans, and trichloroethylenes. Without going into deep chemistry facts about these chemicals, I'm going to break down these in simple terms. These chemicals were found in paints, adhesives, cleaners, etc. Pretty much any kind of heavy industrial product. Dioxins can also be found naturally, usually in wildfires, for example. Dibenzofurans also came from coal tar. Allegedly, besides these chemicals, nuclear waste was also burned. Area 51 claims that these chemicals were used on the spy planes. Okay, I get it. After you're done, you want these products destroyed so your enemies don't find out. However, like this lawsuit, during the courts, the unnamed contractors were listed as John or Jane Does. The government didn't want anyone to know who these people were that were speaking out. Only Frost and Casca's wives spoke out because prior to working at the base, both men were in relatively good health. Also, when you consider someone a John Doe, that usually implies they're dead. So in my opinion, the government were making it seem like these people never existed. I get the high security to protect your secrets, but we kind of had some idea that spy tech was being made. But what are you doing that you have to go through to the extent to make these people unknown? Makes you wonder again, what's really going on here? The victims of this lawsuit fought for compensation for the injuries caused at the base. The claims were that the USAF handled highly toxic materials illegally. Also, the EPA failed at their job to enforce safety measures of these materials within the Resource Conservation and Recovery Act. The suit also demanded detailed information about the chemicals so medical treatment could be done for the other 5 contractors that hadn't passed away yet. U.S. Congressman Lee Hamilton, the former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, stated, "The Air Force is classifying all information about Area 51 in order to protect themselves from the lawsuit. The government decided to invoke the state secrets privilege. This is when a judge disallows disclosure of classified documents that could threaten national security. This also includes performing exams on secret witnesses that could also threaten national security." U.S. District Judge Philip Pro rejected the government's argument. This guy definitely thought about saying, "Fuck the government, we want the truth." However, President Bill Clinton issued a presidential determination exempting Area 51 in what was called the Air Force's operating location near Groom Lake, Nevada, from environmental disclosure laws. Basically, Area 51 is like international waters. It's a spot in the US where the country's laws and regulations don't apply to them, because before 2013, this place never existed. Eventually, the case was dropped due to lack of evidence. The only thing that ever was released was the military operations after being combed and releasing info that was deemed safe and not revealing anything classified. So another win for Area 51, keeping its secrets locked tight. Now let's dive into the real reason why we're all here, the claims that this place is really a UFO research base. Area 51 is a hotspot for conspiracy theories. This is usually because of how secretive it is and all the connections it has to weird aircraft. Some of the crazy theories out there involve the development of such projects like exotic energy weapons, the development of weather control, time travel, and even teleportation technology. Another big theory when it comes to spy planes is the Aurora program. This was a rumored project in the mid-80s that the government was developing a reconnaissance aircraft that was beyond anything we've ever known. The myth of this plane was that it was developed by Lockheed in their Skunk Works division. However, no aircraft is said to ever exist, but that could just be what the government wants you to believe. Within the UFO community, this aircraft has similarities to UFOs. It has been described as a triangle-shaped craft, all black, and to move at speeds that no one would be able to detect. If you were to look up the Aurora program or Dark Star, it looks like something out of a sci-fi movie. Hell, it even looks like a spaceship. And over the many years involving UFO sightings in America, there has been triangle-like shaped craft caught on camera. But as of today, no such project ever existed. But again, that could just be what the government wants us to believe. Moving toward the UFOs, Area 51 has been one of many spots where you could find that stuff here. Claims state that this place is actually a storage location for craft, where research not only examines tech, but also tries to reverse engineer alien spacecraft. It's been documented that reverse engineering of Russian tech has happened, so it could be happening with alien tech. One claim states that UFO from Roswell incident was moved here after the base was constructed. Another theory suggests the base we see from the photos is just a ruse. The real base is underground, and it's massive. There is also an underground rail system to travel around quicker because of how large the real facility is. In 1989, a man named Bob Lazar claimed he worked at Area 51 Sector 4, deep underground near Papoose Lake, which is quite the distance from Area 51. Not far, but definitely looks like a 20-minute drive or so. Now, this isn't a deep dive on Lazar, that could be saved for another episode, but he himself is definitely a character. Within the UFO community, it's often said that his claims to Area 51 and his educational background are not credible. For one thing, Lazar claims to have a master's degree in physics from MIT. However, there is no record of this. Lazar, though, is skilled with propulsion tech, and when he was younger he built a jet engine into his car, but that's a story for another day. Lazar claims when employed with Area 51 he worked on projects involving reverse engineering, projects with extraterrestrial tech as well. He also claims that he read many documents about aliens involved in human history, dating back at least 10,000 years. Now, not being able to prove evidence or so-called alien life and UFO tech, he's been labeled a liar by some of the ufologists out there. I would argue of how difficult it probably would be to smuggle out anything from Area 51. Also, if they can reverse engineer tech, I'm sure hacking into MIT and deleting all records of his so-called education would be a cakewalk for them. Needless to say, Lazar has an interesting history, but over the many years of being scrutinized by many, one thing he's never done is change his story. That has to count for something, I would think. And also, when he came out and announced his claims, he would often take tourists to a famous spot to watch UFOs in the sky. This place is called the Black Mailbox. Not far from Area 51, on a remote stretch of road between the towns of Alamo and Rachel, there lies a mailbox where one can leave offerings for our alien friends, or masters, depending on what you believe. It is painted black and always covered in stickers and scribbled messages. UFO seekers come here to leave letters or even pictures, hoping that one day they will be picked up by something. The history of this box was that it used to be owned by a local cattle rancher named Steve Medlin. He states that he doesn't believe in aliens, nor does he ever see anything weird in the sky, nor does he see any flights happening from the near base. After years of stolen mail and vandalism, he's moved the mailbox off the highway and closer to his ranch. It was soon replaced, though, with the now black box that no one knows where it came from, as Steve wasn't the one who replaced it. The mailbox is located at the intersection of State Route 375 and Mailbox Road. If you get lost, just head to the Alien Research Center or other local alien businesses, as they're always happy to show you the way. In this area of the mailbox and Area 51, many have seen weird lights coming and going, weird shapes and sounds not like what we're used to. So is this all the work of the US working on alien ships for their own purposes? Are alien visiting our area? Or is it simply the US working on new tech and there is no such thing as aliens? Well, that is one of our greatest mysteries, isn't it? However, one day we may yet learn of its secrets. However, with the latest weird shit happening in the world, there has been rumors that the so-called alien tech has been moved. Rumors claim that Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is the new home for UFO research. It also has ties to recent news involving the disappearances of many scientists. I wanted to use this episode to mention something that I find myself chilling. With this show, I want to stay away from the current politics of the world. We all know right now the world is on fire and we're all living in very strange and depressing times. However, there is one thing going on I've been paying attention to. Right now, there is 12 missing or dead scientists with connections to space research and advanced technology. These individuals have been involved with NASA programs and Los Alamos National Laboratory and even Wright-Patterson. On June 11th, 2022, Amy Eskridge passed away due to suicide in Huntsville, Alabama. She was a plasma physicist studying anti-gravity tech and was involved with NASA. Family claim they believe her death was suicide. However, one of her friends claimed that she told them that if she died by suicide, it would be false, and it would be the cause of an energy weapon. On July 30th, 2023, Michael David Hicks, a researcher at NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab, or JPL for short, well, he passed away at 59, and his cause of death was not publicly released. Frank Mailward, another NASA JPL researcher, died at the age of 61 in July 4, 2025, and his cause of death was unknown. Now things are going to amp up. May 8th, 2025, Anthony Chavez, a former employee of Los Alamos National Lab, well, he straight up disappeared. Neighbors claimed to see him leaving his home on foot and just vanished. His phone and other traceable tech were all found in his home, and he is still currently missing. June 22nd, 2025, Monica Jacinto Reza, another JPL researcher, she disappeared while taking a hike. She was an aerospace engineer, which she worked on high-strength metal alloys, probably trying to build new tech for spacecraft. She also had connections to Wright-Patterson, and during her hike, she was about 30 feet from a companion. Whoever she was with smiled and waved and continued their hike, but when they turned around, Reza was gone. June 26, 2025, Melissa Casas, an admin assistant at Los Alamos, just disappeared from her home. She was last seen walking alongside a highway near her home. Her phone, keys, and wallet were still at her home. August 28, 2025, Steve Garcia was a government contractor. He worked as a property custodian at the Kansas City National Security Campus. This place manufactures components needed for nuclear weapons. Well, he as well just disappeared. Last seen leaving his home in Albuquerque on foot with a handgun. Plasma scientist and MIT professor Nuno Loureiro was shot to death in his home on December 15, 2025. The shooter was doing the work of another rival scientist, allegedly. December 12, 2025, Jason Thomas disappeared. His wife reported he never came home from his work. He was a Novartis researcher that specialized in pharmaceutical science, like cancer cures. He was later found dead in March of 2026 in a Massachusetts lake. February 16, 2026, Carl Grillmar was shot to death at his home. He was on his front porch when the shooter approached him. After the arrest, it was discovered that the two didn't know each other and there was no clear motive. Carl was an astrophysicist that worked with NASA searching for water on other planets. February 27, 2026, a retired Air Force general named Neil McCasland disappeared after leaving his home in New Mexico. During this time, with the force, he was in charge of overseeing classified space weapons and rumored to be the head honcho of a location that has the Roswell debris. After McCasland claims that all these individuals are in some way involved with UFO and aliens. McCasland also had ties to Wright-Patterson as well. This base has even more theories about UFOs like Area 51. It even has been seen with weird lights and shapes flying in its area. It's here that with latest missing scientists that's thought that Wright-Patterson is the real UFO location. But we'll tackle that in a future episode as a one-off. However, all these missing people in the last few years is really scary to me because I wonder what the hell is coming. Is the government taking out the ones that know things beyond our world? Or do they know something that we don't and they don't want to be here when whatever it is arrives? This is what we need to be paying attention to right now. I believe something is coming, and it ain't no war among countries or economies crashing. I think one day we will find out what's really beyond our planet. And that is the end of part 2 of the UFOs in America. We may never know what's going on at Area 51. We may never know truly the truth at all at these secret military bases. But maybe one day we may learn the truths that our governments aren't telling us. This series has always been planned as a duology. I never had another part planned. However, things change, and I like to announce that next week I have a surprise third part. You could call this a bonus episode, as it does have deep ties to both Roswell and Area 51. For part 3, we're going to explore the mysterious and bizarre stories of the real Men in Black. So I'll see you next week for the final conclusion to this series. You can email me at northernnightmares@outlook.com with future story ideas, and hit that subscribe button to be notified when new episodes drop. I'll see you soon. Sweet dreams, and remember, nightmares are closer than you think.